Hello, welcome to ITV News Meridian.
The headlines this Wednesday evening. The Prime Minister's COVID Plan B, but tonight he's still being asked to explain this.
His fictional party was a business meeting. And it was not socially distanced.
The footage suggesting there was a Downing Street Christmas party during lockdown.
Anger tonight from bereaved families who at the time of the alleged festivities were following strict lockdown rules.
To see that lady laughing and joking, it is close to evil, it is disgusting.
Also tonight, the row of cottages left flooded in the wake of Storm Barra. Homeowners in Crowborough hit for the second time this year.
And I spy the James Bond fanatic who found 007's moon buggy in a Kent field. Good evening to you. The government are tonight announcing tighter COVID restrictions. It is expected they'll tell people to work from home if they can, and will all need proof of vaccinations to go to large events.
It comes at the end of a tempestuous day at Westminster, still reeling from that video showing Downing Street staff appearing to laugh about having a party at number 10, ignoring COVID rules. It's led to outrage from families across the region who have lost loved ones. Live to Phil Hornby in Downing Street now. Phil, tonight's announcement first.
Yes, Angita, an emergency cabinet meeting has just finished and Plan B is going ahead. It will include, as you say, working from home guidance, possibly having to show your vaccine proof, going to larger events and greater mask wearing. The government had wanted to delay this out as long as possible, but it's coming tonight.
I feel lots of fallout from that Downing Street video.
Yeah, Westminster's been in shock, as has the country, I think, today, about what was shown on ITV News last night, and of course it dominated Prime Minister's questions.
I have been repeatedly assured, since these allegations emerged, that there was no party and that no COVID rules were broken, and that is what I have been repeatedly assured.
It's obvious what happened. Anton Decker ahead of the Prime Minister on this.
Well, she was the official spokesperson. Now get her out of here. Allegra Stratton this afternoon, the woman at the centre of that video, resigned.
My remarks seemed to make light of the rules that people were doing everything to obey. That was never my intention. I will regret those remarks for the rest of my days, and I offer my profound apologies to all of you at home.
And MPs from across the south have been having their say today.
The government may very well have to introduce more stringent measures still between now and Christmas. If we're going to do that, we have to be able to carry the public with us. And we can't do that if the public feels they're not being told the truth. This is a party held in Downing Street, and the Prime Minister's in charge of Downing Street.
People are rightly concerned. I share their concerns. Nobody likes to feel that those who make the rules are not abiding by them themselves.
Well, still the Prime Minister is obfuscating. He's not coming clean with the British public, and once again his staff are resigning. With Boris Johnson, he never accepts responsibility. It's always those around him who pay the price.
I'm sorry to say that Boris Johnson needs to now consider his position. He needs to do everything in his power to regain public trust. If that means he needs to go, then that's what he needs to think about.
Amid rumours tonight that there were perhaps more parties that we hadn't heard of yet, the Prime Minister is under pressure as never before. Meanwhile, for the rest of us, tonight's announcement will mean tighter COVID restrictions in the run-up to Christmas.
Phil, live in Downing Street, many thanks. And of course you can find more on the Prime Minister's announcement on what Plan B could mean for you on our website. Just go to itv.com/Meridian.
Well, that row over claims of a party at 10 Downing Street at the height of COVID restrictions has brought angry reaction from people who were denied precious time with loved ones in hospitals and care homes because they followed the rules.
Anger too from a Kent mother restricted from holding the funeral she wanted for her baby son. Tony Green reports.
A world away from Downing Street on December the 18th last year. Young mother Bex Walton from Tenterden was at the funeral of her baby son. Tommy Bear Goldsmith had lived for just 2 days.
December the 18th last year was the worst day of my life. I had to say goodbye to my son. It was his funeral. He was only 2 days old, sorry. He was 2 days old when I lost him, and I had to say goodbye to him with really limited numbers. Family and friends, we had to say, like, you can't come. I had to wear a mask, hysterically crying, struggling to breathe. I couldn't even sit with family, they couldn't comfort us. Obviously we all had to stick to these rules, and it was just absolutely heartbreaking.
Now, we've seen this footage of people in Downing Street laughing and joking about a party in a rehearsal for a press conference. When you saw that, how did you react?
My blood was boiling. I was so shocked. I could not believe that on the day that I had to go through what I went through, they had a party, and to see that lady laughing and joking, it is close to evil. It is disgusting. They've got no idea what people everywhere went through. We're not the only family that lost a loved one, but we lost a child. I'd love to see them in person and tell them exactly what I went through and what I done on that day, because of the rules they made up. In comparison to what they done that day, it's disgusting.
Around 600 people died on that day, leaving people like Jean Adamson grieving.
My father died during the first wave, and to hear that people, those people who are at the heart of government and who lead this country, were engaging really in this probate behaviour, flouting their own rules whilst expecting us to adhere to them, I think is just so disgusting. I think their behaviour has been despicable and deceitful.
At the time of the alleged party, days away from going into Tier 4 in Kent, families were kept apart and intensive care ward staff were under intense pressure.
During the time of the alleged party, a lot of hospitals were saturated with very severely unwell COVID patients. A lot of our colleagues died, a lot of our patients died. A lot of us as doctors had to take very harsh decisions at the time.
As the Cabinet Secretary looks into if there was a party almost a year ago, the political hangover is making itself felt. Tony Green, ITV News.
Is cheese and wine all right? It was a business meeting.
Well, Medway Council has today confirmed cases of the COVID-19 variant Omicron have been found in Kent and Medway. The council won't, though, say exactly how many.
It comes as COVID vaccination centres in the south east gear up for a busy few weeks as people come forward for their booster. Exactly a year to the day that the NHS started its vaccination programme. Tom Savides reports from Sussex.
The COVID booster programme is in full swing at this vaccination centre at Churchill Square in Brighton. Alistair Stewart had his first 2 jabs earlier this year. Today, he's having his 3rd.
It would be wrong not to have a booster. I don't want to spread COVID virus, and I don't want to catch it.
This centre is currently carrying out around 1,400 vaccinations per day with a capacity for 1,700 jabs. The majority of those are boosters. The government is keen to get as many people vaccinated as possible as the new variant Omicron begins to spread in England. Experts here and abroad are assessing how infectious it is and how badly it affects people. It's a year since the UK started its COVID-19 vaccinations. The majority of those eligible have come forward. Concerns over potential blood clots and other rare complications were reported in limited cases during the early stages of the rollout. Health experts say it's best to get the vaccine as serious side effects are extremely rare.
It's well documented by the scientists that the immunity levels drop over time, so people have had a first and second dose some months ago really need to have their immunity boosted. So hence now the change in government guidelines so that we can deliver the boosters 3 months after the second jab, not just 6 months as it has been.
Bidge Garton, who's 89 and from Ringmer near Lewes, was one of the first in Sussex to get vaccinated. She's now had her booster.
Several of my family have had it, and one or two of them, although they've taken precautions, they've not been careless, they have suffered pretty badly. And I've seen that, and I realise just how serious it is, and I don't want it to happen to anybody.
Vaccination centres across Kent, Sussex and Essex are gearing up for a busy period as people get their boosters in the fight against COVID-19. Tom Savides, ITV News, Brighton.
In other news, 2 people have appeared in court charged with the murder of a man in Tunbridge Wells. He was found on Cayley Road early Saturday morning. Kieran Stewart, who's 18 and from Curtis Road in Hornchurch, and a 17-year-old boy from Ilford have also been charged with conspiring to commit robbery. They've been remanded in custody and are due to appear at Maidstone Crown Court on Friday.
A man from Kent has been banned from keeping all animals for 5 years after neglecting 4 cats, 2 of which died. The cats were underweight and suffering from multiple conditions. Isaac Fihosi from Chatham was also given a 12-month community order and 150 hours of unpaid work.
The next phase of the multi-million-pound revamp of Gatwick Station is underway. Construction of a second concourse will double the space for passengers. It's all part of a £150 million redevelopment.
Twin boys from Kent who have beaten cancer have opened a new family room at the Medway Maritime Hospital. Austin and Edward Gasson were unable to use the usual playroom when they were patients because of their compromised immune systems. Their parents raised £18,000 to pay for the new suite to be used by young oncology patients. Residents in a Sussex town are calling for urgent action after their homes were flooded for the second time in a year. A row of cottages in Crowborough were hit when Storm Barra swept through yesterday.
Well, the flood victims say blocked drains are to blame, but East Sussex County Council says new pipes are to be installed shortly. Malcolm Shaw has our report.
Sarah Simmons had just got home from work when she realised that floodwater had started to stream into her cottage. Soon the floor was submerged. Fire crews were called and tried to pump out the water, but the damage was already done. Residents of the 3 homes at Weston Road in Crowborough had only just got over an almost identical flood a year ago.
We do know it is filthy. We're hoping there's no sewerage involved in it as well. But I would say probably 4 or 5 inches this time, worse than last time, straight through into the kitchen. We've rescued as much as we can, but you're just paddling. We were just soaking wet, and it was such limited time to move stuff.
It seems the drains in the road in front of the cottages became blocked with leaves and other debris during heavy rain and strong winds yesterday. The people who live here say they've been told it's their responsibility to protect their properties and put up barriers.
This is what they expect an 83-year-old lady to do when it's raining. It's not the sort of thing you would want your mum to do.
Today, a clean-up operation was underway, but it will take months for the properties to dry out and damaged fixtures and fittings to be replaced yet again.
This time last year, I would have been moving back in with it all completed, and here we are again with no explanation really, apart from they are telling us that it is our responsibility to unblock the drains. But we can't be here all the time. And why should we? That's what we pay our council tax for, surely.
East Sussex County Council says the gullies are cleaned regularly. The last time was in August, and work is due to start next week to install new pipes to alleviate the problem of flooding in the area. Tonight, the residents of the cottages are facing an uncertain few weeks. Christmas, it seems, a washout. Malcolm Shaw, ITV News, Crowborough.
An ITV News investigations found toys being sold in the run-up to Christmas, which we're told are illegal and potentially dangerous.
Well, the toys were listed by third parties on Amazon Marketplace, where we found similar issues last year. Now, Amazon has removed the toys from sale while they investigate and told us they are taking it very seriously, as Lauren Hall now reports.
Stick one at the top over there.
Carefully decorating the Christmas tree. And their mum is also being careful about the presents that end up underneath it. Last Christmas nearly ended in tragedy when a toy she bought for her son almost killed his younger sister.
You were the best mum and you picked the popular toy and your older kids were over the moon, ecstatic. And you're kissing your baby girl goodbye because you don't know if you're going to see her.
Her son had asked for a set of small magnets. This X-ray shows where some of them ended up. Becca, who was under 2 at the time, swallowed 14 after finding them hidden in the carpet. She needed major surgery and is lucky to be alive. It's cases like these which the authorities are trying to prevent here in the southeast.
Some of the alarming things we're finding is a chemical called phthalates in toys, which is a carcinogenic and can cause fertility problems in children as they grow up. Other problems that we get is slime and heavy metals in slime, entrapment hazard with functional toys like children's ironing boards, products like that. And they're all commonplace items that you might ordinarily be able to buy and buy safely, but parents need to be diligent.
This year, the British Toy and Hobby Association bought 255 toys, randomly selected from several online marketplaces. 88% were illegal and 48% were unsafe, which means they could harm or kill a child. Last year, we did some of our own shopping on Amazon Marketplace. We bought a small selection of toys from third-party sellers and had them looked at by industry experts who found issues with all but one of them. Now, those toys were taken off sale, but after a quick search, it seems they're back and available to buy. They have different product numbers to last year and they're being sold by different companies, but they look identical. What we can't tell is whether they're the same model or whether any improvements have been made to them. So we did some more shopping, buying 3 toys we recognised from last year and 3 new ones. We then asked a toy safety expert if they'd make suitable Christmas presents. Now, this was a very small sample, and we have to point out that these haven't gone through a thorough testing process. These are just your initial assessments, but how concerned are you about some of the toys?
So we've looked at a few toys for you on your behalf, and there's a number that are definitely legal for technical reasons, such as labelling, and there's a couple that are likely to fail if we go on and do further testing.
The toys haven't been independently tested in a laboratory, but these initial assessments found that one complies with UK law. Another appears compliant, but it's recommended for further testing. We're told the other 4 are illegal, and there are concerns these 2 are unsafe. That's because the guitar has gaps which could pinch fingers or allow access to electrical circuits. There may also be issues with noise levels as well as its cord. While the Christmas tree comes with no warnings or electrical safety information.
As it's aimed at babies, that's the most vulnerable consumer, so that causes more concern than the others.
We've shared these findings with Amazon, who've taken the toys off sale. They told us safety is a top priority, with proactive measures to prevent suspicious or non-compliant products being listed, and we monitor the products sold in our stores for product safety concerns. When appropriate, we remove a product or take other actions. If customers have concerns, we encourage them to contact customer service so we can investigate and take appropriate action. The seller of the Busy Board told us we will optimise the product to better bring a happy and safe experience. The sellers of these toys have provided CE certificates and evidence of safety checks. And those who sold the Christmas tree say they're applying for certification and the product is safe and harmless. We've not yet had a response from the seller or manufacturer of the guitar, and we haven't been able to make contact with any of the other toys manufacturers.
We would urge those who are looking to buy gifts for children to really do your homework when you're on these marketplaces. Ensure that you're, if you're buying from a third-party retailer, that actually it's a known brand, or steer clear.
It's hoped people will follow that advice and take extra care when shopping for toys to help keep children safe this Christmas. Lauren Hall, ITV News.
Good advice there. Well, the ITV Evening News continues here with the national and international news at 6:30 with more Mary Nightingale.
Coming up in the programme, Boris Johnson says sorry after the video emerged of advisers joking about a Downing Street party. The PM orders an investigation over what took place amid mounting public fury after the video was leaked to ITV. Well, tonight, Allegra Stratton has resigned, saying she understands the anger and the frustration. And after raising millions for the NHS, how Captain Tom is still inspiring people, this time to follow in his footsteps. Do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Well, 50 years ago, Sean Connery starred as Agent 007 in Diamonds Are Forever, his sixth and final outing as James Bond in the official film series.
The spy adventure was mainly shot in Amsterdam and Las Vegas, but it has a very special connection to Kent, as James Davis can tell us.
James Bond's gadget-laden Aston Martin DB5 almost became as much of a star as 007 when it first appeared in Goldfinger, while the underwater Lotus Esprit from The Spy Who Loved Me added another layer of escapist drama to the spy series. But there's one iconic, but perhaps more clunky vehicle that starred in the long-running film franchise that has a little-known but significant link to Kent.
I found it in this field in Kent, under an oak tree, covered in leaves and acorns and looking very, very sad and dejected. And initially I thought, there's no way that this is ever going to see the light of day again, as it used to be. But the more I looked at it, the more I thought, yeah, I think there's a possibility. Already I was putting it back together in my mind.
Graham paid £500 for the rusty buggy and soon set to work restoring the vehicle to its former glory.
It's a massive vehicle. It's about 10 and a half feet wide. So I thought, right, let's set to and find some people that can do this. And luckily I found the best team that you could ever hope to find, and they did a fantastic job. And it came out of the paint shop on the day looking absolutely identical to what it did in 1971. It was quite thrilling to be able to actually get into the refurbished version of the buggy, and it's now basically restored for all time. So Bond fans the world over, forever and a day, can get to see and touch, hopefully, that moon buggy.
In 2004, Graham sold the moon buggy for £23,000 and it was shipped to Las Vegas. But one piece from the iconic vehicle remains in the southeast.
So Graham, what are we holding here?
Well, this is the one remaining original arm from the Diamonds Are Forever moon buggy. This arm bounced all over the Nevada desert and went through a breakaway set at Pinewood Studios before it found its way, mysteriously, into a farmer's field in Kent.
The moon buggy may not have the speed or the sleek lines of some of 007's most iconic cars, but Graham says the Rover has its own unique charm.
The moon buggy is such a unique vehicle. There's nothing else like it. There's nothing else like it in any other film ever made. There was only ever one of them made. It's totally unique. And it's another vehicle that James Bond actually drove, and as far as I'm concerned, the James Bond, to get away from the bad guys. Plus the fact that it was used as the centrepiece in all of the advertising posters all over the world. So it's a major, important artefact.
It's 50 years since the moon buggy first burst onto the big screen, and while it was almost lost for good, Graham hopes like diamonds, the moon buggy is forever. James Davis, ITV News, Lyd.
I know, it was ahead of its time at the time, wasn't it?
Lovely.
Pip's with us now. Pip, the weather has been doing all kinds of things at the moment, hasn't it?
It's been very topsy-turvy. The last couple of weeks, of course, we've had two names stormed, Arwen and Barra. We've also had a bit of snow thrown in for good measure. But with the stormy weather has come some rainbows, and not least some red rainbows.
Red rainbows?
Yes, I hear you ask, what is a red rainbow?
What is a red rainbow, Pip?
Well, it's formed in exactly the same way as a normal rainbow, so sunlight reflecting off of raindrops, but with a twist. Let's take a look at our first example. This one comes from Monica Kotovich in Sussex. Now, Monica says she captured this beauty on the way to work earlier in the week. Now, red rainbows only happen when the sun is really low in the sky. At this point, the rays have to travel much further through the atmosphere, and in doing so, the blues and greens are weakened, leaving us with the red end of the spectrum. Another lovely example comes from Merrin Woodland, a little further along the south coast, looking absolutely glorious there, and still something I've yet to see in person. But of course, we also had some of the more classic rainbows brightening up the dreary skies. Steve Collis saw this one over Margate, perhaps the pot of gold not too far from Margate Lighthouse. Magic. And this colourful arch comes from Andrew Belcham in Hailsham. You may also be able to spot the beginnings of a second arch just on the right of the picture there. Absolutely glorious.
But you've never seen a red rainbow in person?
I haven't, no. I've yet to do that.
Now, we've had some turbulent weather. Bit of quiet weather for a while, please.
Well, it's certainly looking fairly changeable through the next few days and certainly through the weekend. But I think the closer we get to Christmas, there are some hints that high pressure may make a return.
And high pressure, of course, could lead to snow and a white Christmas.
Now, you're leading me down the path there, Fred. I don't think it's going to be a white Christmas. We're going to stick my neck on the line now, but possibly a frosty one. That'll do.
Coming up, the current forecast. Pip.
Feels like home, whatever the weather. Valent Boilers and Heat Pumps sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
So still looking pretty changeable for a good few days yet. Showers or longer spells of rain, quite breezy at times. But as we head into the weekend, whilst it stays fairly changeable, we'll see a change in wind direction, and that in turn will bring something milder our way. So low pressure still very much the dominant feature through the next few days. Various fronts drifting our way, keeping things pretty unsettled. As I said, some showers or longer spells of rain. But the change in wind direction comes as we head from Friday into Saturday. We lose the northwesterly and we start to pull up milder air from the southwest instead. But out there at the moment, we're looking at largely dry conditions to start this evening, but then cloud will spill in. We'll see a scattering of showers working their way across all parts, not amounting to very much. And with the cloud cover and a fairly brisk westerly breeze, that will keep the temperatures the right side of freezing for all of us. So it should be a frost-free night all round. Nevertheless, a pretty chilly start to the day tomorrow. Lows around 3 or 4 Celsius to begin the day. Plenty of sunshine coming through during the morning and into the early afternoon, but do make the most of it. You'll notice as the day wears on, thickening cloud starts to spread in from the west. And for all of us, another fairly chilly day on the cards. Temperatures in single figures, 7 to 9 Celsius the high, as on the breeze, and feeling chillier still. High tides for tomorrow then for Brighton there, 2:32 in the morning, 2:45 in the afternoon. And then we pick up on that thickening cloud moving in from the west later tomorrow. That will eventually be accompanied by a band of rain, and that will push its way eastwards through the course of Thursday night and into Friday. Drier, brighter, but still chilly on Friday. Something a little milder coming away from Saturday onwards. Do take very good care. Bye-bye for now.
Valent sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Oh, well, it's all there, kind of, isn't it? just a moment, the ITV Evening News, here with Mary Nightingale.
Stacey Paul's got our news at 10:50, but for now, from the team here at ITV Meridian, thanks for watching, enjoy your evening, and take care from all of us here.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.